Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dope?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. Hello, chat. Hello, everyone. So, a couple of updates. First and foremost, Ranting Monkey is not here tonight. He's taking the night off. But knowing him, he might pop in at some point, but for the time being, it's just Satsu and I, though. Sinatra Says should be joining us shortly to fill in for Monkey, so thanks ahead of time to him for that. Also, secondly, you might notice, as contradicting my announcement last night, our guest, Kate Kennedy, is not here tonight. She had some conflicting scheduling things, and so the plan right now is to have her on Friday night. So that is the plan. That's just the programming note update for all of you who are loyal listeners. And but other than that, hi Satsu, how are you?
Pretty good. Had a long day, but uneventful. Nothing bad happened, so it was a good day.
It's a good day. Before the stream started, thank you, Princess Unicorn Nipples, for the donation. Yes, it is Princess's fault, and I put that in friendly quotes, that we're going to have Kate Kennedy on as a guest at all, because he saw that she was shopping around looking for if there was a podcast to join up, and he recommended her, and I was like, okay, sure, hey, you want to come on? Like, okay. So there you go. Again, plan right now, and of course, as with all things, it's tentative, but Friday night, we should have Kate Kennedy on, and Monkey should be back tomorrow night, barring other updates. Thank you, Lady Gopher, so much for the Dogcat Fox. My hero. Yes, I integrated Dogcat Fox into tonight's thumbnail for Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's see. Stargazer Nuts, there's no Monk. Not tonight. He messaged us a while back saying he had to take the night off, so but Sinatra should be here soon. He's doing Tucker Tuesday, and I know it's I really do appreciate him taking the time out to come on and help out this show. But as we move on, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games, hit that like button if you have not already, and many of you haven't. I don't hold it against you.
I do.
You just, well, I was about to say, I don't hold it against you unless you don't do it at all, and then I might get a little cross. Mm-hmm. And please share our stuff. So far as I know, YouTube is still not notifying people, or a good majority of people, when live streams are scheduled and or when they start. I keep having people tell me about my TED Excellence shows. It's like, I just got this notification. You streamed this yesterday. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. So when you guys share our stuff or the content of any other creator that you appreciate, it really does help out. So thank you much for that. Anything else to talk about before we get into the snooze? You got a game stream tonight or anything?
Nope, nothing going on after this.
Oh, well, all right then. I guess we can go on to the wonderful world of my Corona, because, you know, there's not much else to talk about, I suppose.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So we've had a few interesting little tidbits today, depending on your perspective. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is good news, you know, the thinnest of silver linings, and a rare time where CNN actually posts a story that talks about maybe something relatively positive happening with the whole situation. Top public health official says number of dead could be lower as Americans practice social distancing. Okay. A week after unveiling a stunning projection for the number of people who would die from coronavirus in the U.S., 100,000 to 240,000. That was a worst case scenario, CNN. That was a worst case scenario. Okay. They talk about this like, this is what's going to happen. Like, no, that was a worst case scenario if people don't stay away from one another. Anyway.
Trying to fearmonger.
I know. White House officials have yet to fully explain how they arrived at those numbers. They went off of a model. Like, everybody's going off of a model. Everybody's got a different model as to how this thing could or will or is proceeding. And you know what, CNN? Just like you with politics, they're doing their best to guess. We don't know.
You think Trump might have explained it in a conference that they refused to air?
Either that or any explanation he gives is probably about as good as anybody else trying to read the tea leaves on this. You know, I mean, you look at past pandemics, you look at the models, the mathematical models of like, okay, given the amount of time, given the observance of the disease's contagiousness, et cetera, you can take a guess. That's about as good as you're going to get. And so they gave you the worst case scenario. And they, you know, if they overshot it by a bit, just to be on the quote unquote safe side, and also maybe to make people think that maybe we should take some action. I mean, not to induce panic, but to at least get people to understand that there is a risk. Anyway, some administration officials are now saying the number could be lower than they originally warned, but it comes as there are continued questions about how the administration got to the high number. Okay, that's the second time that you've asked that in 2 sentences now. But okay. Sorry.
Well, I don't understand like why their fixation is on that so much, considering they throw out numbers and fucking horrible things all the time, telling us how, you know, we're getting close to the end and all that shit. And I don't really see too much detail on how they got those numbers.
Getting a bunch of gnomes from the Sanutzes. Hello, Sanutzes. Your fearless leader should be here shortly. Sorry, Satsu. Go ahead.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that they're really focusing on that as if that part matters the most. It's like, oh, you said these numbers and it could be better than that, but we really need to know how Trump got to those numbers. Like, I don't think that really matters, does it?
Well, I'll give you this. I appreciate the fact that they're asking where the numbers come from. I just wish they would do that with China.
No.
I mean, let's be skeptical about how Trump arrives at his numbers. That is completely legit, and I'm not being facetious. If the government says this, and this, hey, I appreciate people saying, where did those numbers come from? Because every time I look at a study that tells me something dire is happening or gives me some kind of statistical disparity between demographic A and demographic B, and then just lets me assume that something terrible and racist or sexist is happening in the middle, I appreciate if somebody says, hey, let's look at the actual data. That's good. That's good, CNN. Could you do that with China? Could you do that with Italy, where they've already admitted in Italy that a huge proportion of the number of deaths that they counted for coronavirus didn't actually die of coronavirus. It was simply that somebody died and they tested positive for coronavirus. Did you guys do any of that when you're putting up your panic numbers and trying to make people scared or anything? But Trump puts out numbers. Oh, now you're curious.
Yeah, we absolutely have to know where they came from now, all of a sudden, when China was like, their numbers were and they weren't saying like allegedly. If you remember, we were reading those stories about China's numbers. It was like definitively, these are the numbers at China.
Right.
Like,
okay. Thank you, Elish Norn. Snitches get rewards. Thanks for keeping unsafe, courtesy of Sanut. Wait, did you mean unsafe or keeping us safe? Okay. Well, if I'm doing anything to keep you safe, all right. But I don't know how to respond to that. I'm just sitting locked up like everybody else. Okay, moving on. The final number could end up being higher or lower than the dramatic estimates released 1 week ago.
No shit.
Did Chris Saliza write this? No. Jim Acosta and Elizabeth Cohen wrote this. Okay, so let's take a safe bet, guys. You know those numbers they put out last week, 100,000, 240,000? The actual number could be higher, but it could be lower. Thanks, CNN.
Who wants to bet on whether it's higher and lower?
Oh my God. Okay, let's try this again. The final number could end up being higher or lower than the dramatic estimates released 1 week ago in a briefing by the White House Coronavirus Task Force, according to federal health officials and researchers who are creating models to forecast the outbreak. Oh, could that be where the numbers came from, CNN? Or any numbers that come out thereafter as things change and more data comes in? Thank you, Professor Chaos. All the numbers are suspect. France is doing the same as Italy, so are some states. Yeah, the disproportionate nature of the number of deaths in Italy and say Iran as reported versus the number in China, when you've got a far higher population density in China, you have worse air quality in China. It never made a lot of sense to me. It really didn't, unless there was something uniquely vulnerable about Italy's population. Now, you could have said, well, Italy has a higher proportion of people over the age of 65 or whatever. Like, I think it was something like 23 or 26% of their population was in that range, whereas China's was like something like 10 or 13%. So almost double the number of elderly people are in Italy versus, I mean, population-wise or in statistically relation to China. So you could say, oh, well, that's probably why. It was just like ridiculous. But I will say, I watched Dave Cullen's video on the whole coronavirus, him looking over all our news articles and reports from scientists and things, and just saying like, yeah, like only 12% of Italy's deaths are actually as a result of the coronavirus, and not just people that died while testing positive for it. Like somebody dies of a heart attack, but they also tested positive for coronavirus. They count it as a coronavirus death.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, I could go on. A source close to the task force says it's possible the eventual death toll will be way under the 100,000 and 240,000 figure. Well, it is possible. It's also possible it could be 5 billion people. I don't know. I doubt it. But that's good news, right? Isn't that something to sort of like push and maybe be optimistic about CNN?
No.
A key factor driving the large estimate. Wait, I thought you said you didn't know where the numbers came from. What? Okay, let's continue. A key factor driving the large estimate was a crucial assumption discussed internally by task force officials that only 50% of Americans would observe the government's stringent social distancing guidelines, the source said. Okay, so again, you were asking where the information came from, and now you're telling us that you know how the numbers were arrived at. Yeah, worst case scenario, if half of Americans decided to ignore the suggestions and guidance by states and by the federal government to stay away and to take precautions, then this is what could possibly happen. Okay, so why are you talking like it's a mystery? That calculation was not shared widely. What? Okay, maybe I missed something. Let me try that again. A key factor driving the large estimate, and as large estimate is 100,000 and 240,000, okay, was a crucial assumption discussed internally by task force officials that only 50% of Americans would observe the government's stringent social distancing guidelines, the source said. That calculation was not shared widely.
But if that assessment was made and it was publicized and everybody who has eyes can read it, then how wasn't it?
Okay, now I haven't watched every task force news press conference or whatever, news briefing, just like CNN hasn't actually broadcast them all. But I swear to God, I have heard more than one person say something to the effect, whether it's individual governors or anything else, warning people that if people do not follow these guidelines, more people will die.
Right.
Okay. Maybe they didn't say 50% or like whatever, but that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this saying lockdown, social distancing, wash your hands, If people do not adhere to these rules, the spring break guys getting criticized and so on. The notion that not following this advice is going to lead to further illness and death has been the entire point of this exercise. So if the White House didn't share this calculation of, well, these numbers are the assessment if we consider a worst case scenario where people aren't following the guidance, why is that the calculation was not shared widely? This entire situation is that calculation.
Yeah.
All of us doing this is based on that essential calculation. Getting to those specific numbers, I couldn't tell you, but okay, sorry, I know I'm getting caught up on this, but CNN is going all over the place on this. First, they're like, we don't know where these numbers came from. Well, the numbers actually come from. Okay, in reality, going back to the article, a much larger number, 90%, is observing the government's guidelines, U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Adams said in several interviews this week. Okay, well, that's good news, right, CNN? I mean, if 100,000 to 240,000 is an assumption based on only 50% of Americans actually adhering to it, and you're telling us that actually 90% are and only 10% are not, at least according to the Surgeon General. All right, well, let's see. What is 10% of 100,000? Well, that would be what? 10,000? Right?
I'm just...
So 10,000 or 200 or 24,000 on the, so 10 to 24,000 people as compared to 100,000 to 240,000 people. Okay. And that's assuming that the 10% who aren't observing it all get sick and all die effectively, which isn't the case. Because even then the actual death rate right now that we know of is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1%, 1.3, something like that. So why aren't you touting that as good news? Hey, we've been doing this now for a month and a half or whatever. People are actually observing it. It looks like things are going better. Keep it up, guys. That kind of thing.
Well, because it might make Trump look good.
Okay, and I understand, my cynicism tells me that's probably why, but I really hope people stop proceeding with that in the back of their heads, because we really just need, like I said, okay, if 90% of people are actually doing it, if that figure's correct, and I don't know if it is or isn't, but I'll take it on the absence of something else. That's great. That's great, because the only way that we make sure that this doesn't spread any further and more people get sick is if we all just hunker down for a while. Hopefully not too much longer. But do they ever talk about like this is good news? Oh my God, this thing goes on for like 5 more pages.
Eesh.
Okay, let me get down to the conclusion here. Even before the task force released its official estimates, Dr. Fauci, is it Fauci or Fauci? Fauci? I don't know. Said the models could be overestimating the number of Americans who may die from the virus during an interview on CNN's State of the Union on March 29th. Yeah, because you don't want to undershoot it and say, only 1,000 people will die. And the next week it's like, 9,000 people are dead, so you don't know anything. We're all guessing. Everybody's guessing. Nobody knows. Quote, the model is only as good and as accurate as your assumptions, Fauci said. And whenever the modelers come in, they give a worst case scenario and a best case scenario. Generally, the reality is somewhere in the middle. I've never seen a model of the diseases that I've dealt with where the worst case scenario actually came out. They always overshoot.
Right.
Okay, so CNN, if he told you this on March 29th, why are you so pushing mystery on these numbers? I don't know. Anyway, hello, Sinatra.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hey, man, thanks so much. Let me try to talk. That I can't talk tonight.
You got that?
Let me try again. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and filling in for Monkey. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I know you had Tucker Tuesday today, so you're a very busy guy.
Always.
And thank you, Connor Johnson. Have you guys ever been to a Culver's restaurant? I don't believe I have. Have you guys?
Yeah.
Never even heard of it.
Okay, what's a Culver's restaurant, Satsu?
It's a fast food joint. I went to one in Wisconsin or whatever. They a lot of people go crazy about the cheese curds or whatever that they have there, and they got like butter burgers and shit. It was all right. I mean, I only went like the one time, and what I had was fine.
All right. Well, there you go.
What a stunning endorsement. It was fine. Okay.
I mean,
hey, if we were being sponsored, it'd be a different story.
Right. I'd be like, oh man, that shit was amazing.
Yeah, man, my arteries clogged up like totes.
You mean like Shade Ratto Legends?
Wait. Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah.
Who the heck would endorse those guys?
Some loser.
I know, right? Jesus, how many losers endorse that? Anyway, we were just talking about how CNN was mystified over the 100,000 to 240,000 projected possible deaths of coronavirus, and where did they come up with those numbers? And then in their article, they proceeded to tell us where they came up with those numbers.
Jesus,
I'm not even kidding. Yeah, they start the first 2 sentences saying, we don't know where those numbers came from, and they haven't shared that information. And then they go on to say, Well, I mean, the numbers come from the assumption that 50% of Americans aren't following the guidelines. And here's a big quote from Dr. Anthony Fauci at the end of the thing.
Who is this Fauci guy? I keep hearing about him.
He is like the chief epidemiologist at the CDC. He's like the top guy that deals with viruses and diseases and stuff. He's not a fake or anything. So he's actually an accredited professional. And so far, nobody's told me that he's a nutbag or some kind of.
Can I infer that he's a nutbag because he did Lily Singh's show?
He did Lily. Well, I mean, see, here's the thing. He's going everywhere to try to promote people to. I mean, he'll go on anybody's show. I've seen him on some crazy doing 10, 15 minutes on people's podcasts or whatever just to be out there. He's been making the rounds trying to push the social distancing and everything else. So
it doesn't look like vetting the people he was he just wanted to answer questions, because there's a whole YouTube playlist of people from all different types of directions that he talked to about it. So
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen
Lords of the Night.
I don't know. I should try it. You know, we're on a guest a sort of guest run lately, so sure, why not? I'll tweet him and see what he says.
Yeah, fire off a tweet on the twatter.
Yeah, if I get Dr. Anthony Fauci on here, or Fauci. That'd be funny. Anyway, so yeah, CNN is all over the place as usual, and Jim Acosta specifically is just like trying to hold two things in his head at once. Like, Trump's terrible, but he's not lying. I don't know what to do. But in other news that is at least sort of tangentially related to the whole situation, you remember that aircraft carrier captain that got reassigned after a memo he put out about the coronavirus got leaked?
Yeah, I heard that it's because he, I think Call to Crow was saying it, because he was showing that his entire crew is somehow, what's the word for it, vulnerable or something?
Well, so my understanding, and from what Monkey said, is that making the statement that he did and or allowing that memo to become public was a break of the chain of command and affected morale and was a violation of code of conduct and everything else. And while the morality and the circumstances can be argued, obviously, and many people have, and I don't necessarily disagree at the core of it, he violated rules that was unbecoming or something. That's my understanding. But here's the thing. The Secretary of the Navy, shortly thereafter, because of what the captain did, called him stupid, amongst other things. And now, acting Secretary of the Navy resigns after calling ousted aircraft carrier captain stupid.
Oh.
Yeah, so here we go. Boy, I am just having a day today. Acting Navy Secretary Thomas Maudley resigned on Tuesday, a day after leaked audio revealed he had called the ousted commander of the USS Theodore Roosevelt stupid in an address to the ship's crew. Talk about morale busting.
Brilliant.
Maudley's resignation comes a little more than a week after Captain Brett Crozier, I don't know how to say that, the then commanding officer of the U.S. Theodore Roosevelt, sent a memo warning of coronavirus spreading among the sailors on the aircraft carrier. The memo leaked, and Maudley subsequently removed Crozier from the command. The former acting secretary flew to Guam to address the ship, insulting Crozier. Is it Crozier? Crozier. See, when I see that, I see it's a Crozier. And I think of Colleen Bernier, so I want to say Crozier reflexively. Anyway, never mind me, guys. Insulting him to thousands of sailors who had given their former captain a standing ovation as he left the ship days before. The audio of that address was leaked to media outlets, and the uproar over Maudley's remarks, calling Crozier too naive or too stupid, unquote, to be in command of the aircraft carrier, and saying that going outside the chain of command with his memo represented a betrayal, quickly made his position untenable. Dude, all right, he may have broken the letter of the rules, and I'll agree with you on that one. However, he didn't betray anybody. He was concerned for the people underneath him.
Right.
Yeah, this is a damned if you do or damned if you don't situation.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't say anything, your people are going to fucking die. But if you do say something, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, because apparently he didn't think that they were moving fast enough or taking it seriously, the danger they were under, and that's why, at least that is the that is the presumed reason why it was leaked rather than just kept internal, because then maybe pressure would be put on them to do something. And conceivably, it has.
Apparently, I misunderstood. Cult of Curl said his argument was an OPSEC issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Professor Chaos, thank you. Scribe is filling in for Ranting Monkey tonight. Yes, with my stumbling and bumbling, I am very Ranting Monkey for some reason. Excuse me. Let's see. So in his resignation letter, Motley did not mention the controversy, but later apologized to the whole of the Navy for the incident in a memo. In a memo, you say. Quote, more than anything, I owe every member of the Navy and Marine Corps team a lifetime of gratitude for the opportunity to serve for them and with them once again. They are the reason why I will forever remain inspired by the call of service, unless somebody's too naive or stupid to run an aircraft carrier, obviously.
Yeah.
They are the ones who lift our nation, heal our divides, and make this country the greatest in the history of the world, except when they're being naive and stupid and caring for their men. That is why, with a heavy heart, I hereby submit my resignation effective immediately. The men and women of the Department of the Navy deserve a continuity of civilian leadership befitting our great republic and the decisive naval force that secures our way of life. I will be forever grateful for my opportunity and the blessing to be a part of it. Yep. Well, there you go.
I would like to take this opportunity in the lull of the conversation to say everybody needs to go subscribe to Cult of Curl.
Okay. At least you didn't say go sign up for Raid Shadow Legends.
No, subscribe to multi-culty. Damn it.
Multicultural?
Multi-Cult of Curl.
Multi-Cult of Curl.
Yes, go subscribe to him, and then you'll see the Raid Shadow Legends.
There you go.
Yeah, Krill. No, it's like what is it? Krill. Cult Legends. I don't know.
Cult of
nice
Curl
try.
Legends.
I tried and I failed. Tonight's not my night, I guess.
There's a way in there to work it out.
There was, but I'm a terrible comedian. Here's something that's maybe I don't know. I need Satsu's insight on this because he's our resident expert on the subject. Why some people of color say they won't wear homemade masks.
What?
Satsu, why wouldn't you wear a homemade mask?
Wait, people
Okay.
of color specifically?
This is the CNN article title. So it's before I read it, I want to find out from Satsu his reflexive, instinctual response to Satsu. You're looking at wearing a homemade mask. What scares you about that?
Well, what scares me about that as a person of color is the fact that all of the police in the United States are completely unaware of the fact that there's a pandemic right now.
Okay.
So they're still in regular police mode. So if they see a black person like me with a mask on and leave the house, they're just gonna start firing indiscriminately. Because they don't know what I'm doing. They don't know why I have that mask on. They're just gonna kill me on sight because no cop in the world knows that there's a pandemic going on. We didn't tell them. We kept it secret so they can keep doing their jobs.
Okay.
So that's what it is. That's why black people won't wear them because we'll get killed.
Well, Satsu, CNN should be paying you.
Can I take a stab at it?
Oh, sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Because they look fucking gay.
Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is now recommending that all Americans wear homemade face coverings in public to help stem the spread of the coronavirus. But Trayvon Logan, an economics professor at Ohio State University, will not be following this guidance. Quote,
Disavow.
we have a lot of examples of the presumed criminality of black men in general, Logan, who is black, told CNN. Quote, and then we have the advice to go out in public in something that can certainly be read as being criminal or nefarious, particularly when applied to black men. I want to, Satsu, you are a professor at Ohio State University. Honorary. I'm giving you an honorary professorship at Ohio State University right here, right now.
Dude, they are so fucking easy to read. It's unbelievable. Jesus.
Well, here's the thing. Logan is not alone in his concerns.
Of course not.
A social media maven known as Satsu 2 Cents also agrees. Oh, sorry, no, I'm adding that. But on social media and in interviews with CNN, a number of people of color, including Satsu 2 cents, and activists, academics, and ordinary Americans, expressed fears that homemade masks could exacerbate racial profiling and place blacks and Latinos in danger. Quote, I don't feel safe wearing a handkerchief or something else that isn't clearly a protective mask covering my face to the store because I am a black man living in this world, tweeted Aaron Thomas, an educator in Columbus, Ohio. I want to stay alive, but I also want to stay alive. That's a great line. I got to say, that is a great line. Thank you, Ginger Snap, for a Dogcat Fox. Bravo! Yes. Yeah, bravo for Satsu. He is now an honorary professor.
See, this is usually the part where somebody will say something along the lines of, this is why people think y'all are stupid. No, this is why I think y'all are fucking stupid. I ain't gonna bring other people into it. This is why I personally look at black activists and think that y'all are all brain dead, because only you have to be completely idiotic to even.
I'll be right back. There's a child acting up.
Okay. Oh,
it doesn't make any sense.
Listen to this. Okay, and this is the last part I'll read before we get into MSS news. Thank you, Joe Faps. When does the quarantine prawn come out? Oh, it's already out there. It's already out there. If you and not that I have any direct experience having come across this myself or anything, but I'm just saying that more likely than not, if you were to go onto one of the adult video websites and just put in quarantine or lockdown or coronavirus or something like that, it's possible you might see people having made some cinema inspired by the situation. I'm just guessing. I don't know for a fact.
I saw a video titled "Fuck the Corona" right out of her.
Thank you for being so explicit, Satsu, where I was trying to couch my language. Thank you, first name, last name. I will not social distance. I will not wear a mask. I will act just as I do. But I may use this as an excuse to wear a dragon mask because it would be cool. It's a flu. I don't trust any of the numbers. For a second there, the way it was starting out, I thought you were doing like a Dr. Seuss kind of rhyme. It's like, I will not social distance. I will not wear a mask. You can beg me all day. You can try to ask, or something like that. That's where my mind was going. Well, that is certainly your prerogative. Stay healthy, dude. Everybody else, too. Stay healthy. Here, let me read this last part. The CDC's recommendation on do-it-yourself masks comes as the skyrocketing numbers of coronavirus cases and shortages of medical supplies have made professional-grade surgical masks all but unavailable to most Americans. Most Americans and it doesn't matter what your skin color is, by the way. In an interview with CNN, Logan, that's the professor, acknowledged that during a pandemic, it makes sense to ask people to protect their faces in any way possible. But it also makes sense not to wear them if you're a person of color, he added. Let me just read that again. In an interview with CNN, Logan acknowledged that during a pandemic, it makes sense to ask people to protect their faces in any way possible. But it also makes sense not to wear them if you're a person of color. Cognitive dissonance based on racial prejudice.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do with that?
I don't know. What's he a professor of again? He's a professor of what? An economics professor. Okay, you know what, economics professor? You're not a doctor. Maybe you have a PhD. You might have a PhD or a doctorate in economics, but that doesn't make you a doctor. So go away. Stop.
It is very difficult. I know because I talk shit about and say to people who wish horrible things on other people for the most mundane of reasons. I'm like, don't do that. You're a piece of shit if you do that. It's hard not to. It gets real difficult because I'm just like you. Something should happen. I don't know what, but something should happen.
Yeah, let me just advise you all to not take the precautions to try to preserve yours. And here's the thing that I don't hear enough. It's the idea that this situation and all the lockdown, all the prevention, washing your hands, everything, it's not necessarily about you. It's about the person next to you, and then maybe their grandparents, I mean, most of us, so far as we can tell, the majority of people who get this or are exposed to it either will have no symptoms or practically unnoticeable symptoms or mild symptoms. And that's great. That's great if that's all that happens. But it's the person 3 feet away from you and then their families or the next person that they get in contact with. This only works if we all sort of hunker down and go through the inconvenience and or, depending on which situation you're in, the horrible sacrifice. Because it's not like, well, I'm not sick, so I must be fine.
Yes. May every step he take be the equivalent of stepping on Legos.
Oh, God. Thank you, Professor Chaos. Corona, minorities most affected. Also, minorities don't wear masks. Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. There is a story that I'll get to at Fucketry Time that says that very, very thing. But we have a birthday today. A very special birthday. It's Jacob Jett's birthday. So in the absence of Monkey, I will lead the traditional jubilee here and say, Jacob Jett, it's your birthday. And around here, when it's somebody's birthday, we do this. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, for real, Sinatra?
Jacob Jett, what is that, like Joan Jett's brother or something?
Happy birthday to you.
Shorten that by like 2 seconds.
More like Jacob New.
Happy birthday, Jacob Jett, as I sing all by myself.
Jacob Jett.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yay.
You got one of the good ones because Monkey wasn't here and I wasn't being silly because I was doing it all by myself.
Can't wait to be
All by myself with Dr. Pepper. Okay, moving on to the wonderful world of MSS News. So, guys, if you have news stories you would like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but that's because Sinatra's trying to interrupt me before I even get in past the intro. Yes, Sinatra.
I finally get why Andy Worski got so frustrated with people because nobody gets the Chip Chipperson jokes.
I am one of those people then because I don't know what Chip Chipperson is.
Fine.
I know Chim Chimmery.
No, it's not Chim Chimmeroo. It's Chip Chipperson.
Look, well, I know. That's why I was drawing the distinction. I don't know the one, but I do know the other.
Well, you better look it up.
All right. Do you know Bed Knobs and Broomsticks?
Yeah, of course. The Angela Lansbury. It's
Yeah. Okay,
classic.
Yeah, good. Just thinking of Disney movies. And I like the part at the end where the suits of armor all come to life and start attacking the Nazis. That's great. Especially the one with the bagpipes. The bagpipes. Anyway,
Maybe I don't remember the movie as well as I thought I did.
Oh, dude, at the end when she makes all the suits of armor and like historical clothing come to life and fight the Nazis. Oh, it's great. Okay, where were we here? Okay, this one comes from Sir Quack. Sir Quack, if it'll come on, Story, you can do this, right? You're the internet. You can move faster than this. Okay. Trump says he will place a hold on WHO funds amid coronavirus pandemic.
Thank fuck.
Yeah, given the fact that they're practically just an apologist and mouthpiece for China this whole time, I can't say I disagree, all things considered. Pirates Creed says, what movie was that, Scribe? It's a Disney movie called Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. It's one of those classics where they integrate animation with live action in some places. But mostly it's got some, at least at the time, really fun special effects and Angela Lansbury and the dad, the banker dad, from Mr. Banks, the dad from Mary Poppins is in it, but is a different character. Although every time I see that guy, I can't help but think of him as Mr. Banks from Mary Poppins. Let's see. President Donald Trump on Tuesday said the World Health Organization has made mistakes amid the coronavirus pandemic, and he plans to place a, quote, very powerful hold, unquote, on funding the group. Quote, they actually criticized and disagreed with my travel ban at the time I did it, Trump said at the White House coronavirus task force briefing. Quote, and and they were wrong. They've been wrong about a lot of things. They had a lot of information early. They seem to be very China-centric. We have to look into that, so we're going to look into it, unquote. Yes, Satsu. Satsu?
What's up?
You had something to say?
No, I was saying they did criticize his travel ban when he did it.
Yeah, and even Joe Biden came out today or yesterday or whatever and agreed with it.
And wasn't it the Chinese that said the travel ban was like the Holocaust? Like, come on, man. You guys initiated a travel ban from other countries, but if it's done against you, it's the Holocaust? Are you shitting me?
Did they actually use that language?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I don't remember. It's a lot of things. Trump said that WHO receives, quote, vast amounts of money from the United States, unquote, adding it pays for the largest portion of the organization's funds. He said the organization, quote, called it wrong, unquote. Excuse me. They missed the call, Trump said. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. They should have known, and they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully. Well, I'm not going to say the WHO hasn't dropped the ball over the place, but we also have to look at when did China actually start being honest about what they knew and when they knew it. Because if they didn't tell anybody anything, the WHO was behind the game, just like the rest of us. But that's beside the point. It's a chain of stupidity. But moving on, what is this? I don't know because there's no preview. Let's see what it is before I start reading it. This is funny. This one comes from Mercy of Wits. Skrelly's plea from prison: free me and I'll cure COVID-19.
No.
Thank you, Jaeger Pony. The head of the WHO is an Ethiopian communist. They refuse to deal with Taiwan at all. Is that true? I don't know anything about the WHO outside of. Is he a communist? Oh, that'd be weird. Let's see. Who can save us from disease and despair in these harrowing times? Why, none other than Martin Shkreli, of course. Yes, the widely despised ex-pharmaceutical executive currently serving a 7-year federal prison term for fraud is, in fact, humanity's one true savior. If only we'd let him out of jail for a few months.
You know what? He could be.
He has no medical experience whatsoever.
But he's got the money to fund it.
Jack Dorsey just dumped $1 billion into it. Apparently 28% of his personal wealth, Jack Dorsey dumped $1 billion into COVID-19 research. So I think we're good for money right now, and Shkreli doesn't have that kind of money. In a brief document posted online this week, Shkreli and a small band of associates lay out scientific plans to develop a cure for COVID-19. Numerous other drug developers, ones who are not in the slammer, are also working on treatments and vaccines to fight COVID-19. But those response efforts are inadequate, Shkreli argues, and he alone is qualified to get the job done right. Quote, I am one of the few executives experienced in all aspects of drug development, from molecule creation and hypothesis generation. I can do hypothesis generation. I hypothesize that Harry Houdini was the greatest magician who ever lived. That's my hypothesis.
Wasn't he an illusionist?
Well, he was a stage magician, and he did up close sleight of hand stuff. He was kind of an all around, at least for his era. But yeah, he did illusions. He made an elephant disappear live on stage. He did escapes. He was also an escapist. Of course, he escaped from straitjackets, being dumped underwater and that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know why I know all that. Just reasons. Let's see. Hypothesis generation to preclinical assessments and clinical trial design, target engagement demonstration. Wow, look at all these fancy words he's using. And manufacturing, synthesis, and global logistics and deployment of medicines, he writes in a note at the end of the document. In short, he needs to be sprung from the pokey so he can save the world. I am asking for a brief furlough, 3 months, to assist in research work on COVID-19, he writes, adding that this temporary freedom won't be a treat. Quote, being released to the post-COVID world is no solace to even the incarcerated. Yeah, well, Marty, you're not going anywhere. Sorry. People with more experience, more resources, more knowledge are already working on this, and lots more money than you can possibly contribute has already been dumped into it. So you're just going to have to do your time, little boy. Let's see. Frosted glass. Okay, here we go. This one comes from Frosted Glass. It's a Medium article because, of course. And it's under their heading, Think Queerly. Why being, quote, into straight guys, unquote, is the height of internalized homophobia. Gay men fetishizing straight men perpetuates prejudice.
Okay.
You know what? I got to agree with it. Because if a straight guy goes, you know what? I bet I could turn that lesbian straight. Then it's automatically, oh, how dare he say such a thing? But gay men have just been getting a pass on that. I bet I could turn that guy gay. And it's fine. Fuck him.
All right. This is by someone named, and I'm sure this is their real, well, I don't know. Because media, I don't know what kind of, I've never done a Medium thing. I think anybody can just do a Medium blog, can't they?
I don't know.
Forget to sign up or something. I thought it was like an open thing. Anyway, this reads, I remember the first time I went out with a guy. We had met on Grindr a few days prior and had really enjoyed chatting with each other. He was sexy, bright, and charismatic. He had a handsome face with a nice thick beard, ever so slightly curly hair, and incredibly thick dark eyebrows. I remember walking into the restaurant where he had been sitting waiting for me. He gave me a friendly hug and said he was really excited to finally meet me. He was incredibly friendly. We chatted while we waited for our drinks. At first, the conversation was very generic. We talked about our jobs, where we were from, our hobbies, and our favorite restaurants. The more I learned about him, the more I liked him. Then he asked me, quote, what kinds of guys are you usually into? Unquote. To anyone who uses gay dating or hookup apps, this is one of the most common questions asked, so I didn't think much of it. Okay. I told him that I was fairly new to dating men and that he was, in fact, the first guy I had met on an official date. He was both surprised and happy. I told him I like guys that are stern yet compassionate, assertive yet respectful, confident yet humble, mildly introverted, good listeners, and funny. Okay. He then asked what kinds of guys I usually found physically attractive. I told him I preferred guys around my height or shorter, around my age, plus or minus a few years, thick to muscular, and bearded, though I emphasized that I've been attracted to all sorts of men before. He pretty much fit the description in almost every way. Then I asked him the same questions, and that's when the date took an irrevocable turn for the worse. He responded, quote, well, I'm naturally attracted to straight guys, or at least bisexuals. God, nothing is sexier to me than a straight guy, unquote. I looked at him bewildered and asked, why did you ask me out then? And that's when he dropped his second truth bomb. Quote, well, I find you really attractive. I've always found Arab men attractive because they're hairy and dark-skinned. But I've also heard that a lot of gay Arab men are frequently bisexuals, so I was kind of hoping you're also bisexual. He had the biggest grin on his face when he responded to my questions. What the actual fuck? Okay, so that's the intro. The rest of this goes on. I'm just going to read a little bit of the second section. Again, back to our author. I'm by no means a psychiatrist or a social behavior expert. Okay, then why the hell am I reading you? I don't pretend to know much about human sexuality besides my own. But even I saw his responses as a huge red flag despite my lack of experience with men at the time. Okay, so you ran away from him, right? You stopped, right? Since then, I've come across a countless number of gay men. No, you haven't. You can count. You haven't gone after every gay man in the world. You can count on your hands how many you've come across. Who share this line of thinking. It's one of the most common fetishes in the gay community. Many gay men fetishize straight men to an unbelievable degree. And when pressed, they usually give similar responses about straight men being more masculine or sexy because they fuck women. Okay. Let me. Okay, like Sinatra brought up, like, I can turn that lesbian straight, right? Okay. Let me just guess. I'm just guessing here. the sense of challenge and or conquest fuels a lot of people sexually. Both men and women.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it? Okay. Well, not everybody's attracted to that, but some people are. And some people see it as a challenge, and that gets them excited. Like my awesomeness can overcome their natural inclinations. It's an ego thing. It's a sexual thing. It's not necessarily a healthy thing. It's not necessarily something to make you popular with people, but it's a thing that happens in people. Thank you, Officer Buck. Straight men make better gay men. Straight men make better, again, conquests, bragging rights, ego boosters, I guess. Just like if you can try to overcome someone else's. I mean, let's take the orientation thing out of it altogether. If you are the classic 98-pound weakling, but you manage to charm the pants off some hot supermodel, okay, there is someone you're attracted to. On top of that, there's a challenge to overcome where your being is going to, overwhelm the barrier you perceive between you and that conquest, and you overcome it, or you make the effort to. That is a big ego booster. That is a big self-esteem booster. People go after that. Now, various things could be those obstacles, whether it's they're married, or they're out of your league, or they're straight, or they're gay, whatever. But it's the same mechanism. That's all. Yeah. And you can assess the individual people that take whatever actions that they take to achieve that conquest on their merits. Some people are absolute skeezes. Some people are just, they take a chance and something good happens. Thank you, Officer Buck. So a straight man is a gay man's trophy. Can be. It can be, to a certain extent, mentally, emotionally, sexually, it can be. To overcome something that seems like an impassable barrier and know that your personal talents or charisma or whatever else was able to overcome that can feel very empowering, And I'm not saying that everybody who does that or sees something like that, but I mean, specifically going after somebody because they're not attracted to your gender. Just like Sinatra said, it's like, okay, a straight guy saying, I'm going to turn that lesbian gay. It's like, that's pretty heartless, and also really kind of bully type arrogant to think that way. So it doesn't say much about the person doing it, but the motivation is not that much different from people saying, I'm going to go after somebody out of my league kind of thing. So that's my thought. But granted, I'm not a psychologist or a social behavior expert. But I do own a couch. Halfway there.
Yeah, that sounds just creepy.
Yeah. So in that sense, the author of the article is not wrong to be turned off by someone who would say that, but to then say that is internalized homophobia, I don't know about that one. Thank you again, Officer Buck. Turn that lesbian gay. Did I say turn that lesbian gay?
I don't know.
I might have misspoke. I apologize. Moving on. This one comes from Shrouded Angel. Come on, you can do it. Yes, I know. No, I don't want to play the ad. Go away. Postman filmed wiping nose and rubbing it around doorway amid coronavirus pandemic.
Boy.
Are you kidding me? Sickening footage shows a postman wipe his nose and rub it around a doorway while a person self-isolates inside. The clip has been doing the rounds on social media where viewers have expressed their outrage. Royal Mail say they have, quote, launched an urgent investigation. Sorry, I said it correctly. They wrote it incorrectly. Launched and urgent investigation. Not and. But anyway, after viewing the footage, which appears to have been taken on a door camera, you don't say. The clip shows a postman approaching the door, put a parcel through the letterbox before wiping his nose with his left hand and then wiping it on a railing, the door handle, a wall, and the letterbox. There is no indication of where this incident took place, but the postman appeared to be dressed in the distinctive Royal Mail uniform. Okay, this is Britain. Yeah, it's in the Daily Mail. Sorry, the Mirror. I was about to say the Daily Mail wrote this. The Daily Mail. No, it's the Mirror. Several people have shared the video on various social media websites, and some have called for the police to investigate. Some people doing similar things have been like charged with terroristic threats or something.
Yeah, terrorism, some shit like that.
We're in touch with the customer concerned, and we are looking to offer them additional support. We have launched an urgent investigation, and once complete, appropriate action will be taken. Royal Mail takes the health and safety of its customers very seriously, etc., etc. Well, since I'm sure the original video does not have the guy's face blurred out, if he's one of your employees, it should be relatively easy to find out who it is. Especially if you know who the person is that received this letter and where they live and the route that it was on. So, yeah, that person's in trouble. Moving on, this one comes from Chicago Mike. Chicago Mike. I wonder if Chicago Mike's favorite musical is Chicago. You think?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I heard it, but I didn't dignify it with an answer.
If you turn into the show, I can just, you can go play your video games or whatever you're doing.
I heard it, but I can't dignify that with an answer.
I just asked the silly question. Do you think Chicago Mike's favorite musical is Chicago? It's a silly question. That's all. It's okay.
No wonder I ignored it.
You just subconsciously know it's dumb, and you're like, okay.
Can you tell I'm frowning now and sad?
I can sadness for me.
All right. Could Major League Baseball start in Arizona in May? Answering the big questions. Could it? Yes, it could. There, I answered it. That was easy. It could. It could start in August for all I know.
I mean, who watches baseball anyway? Besides me, I think I'm the only person left.
In Ohio or in the world?
Ever.
Oh, ever? Wow.
Yeah,
well, then I guess this question is for you. Could there be Major League Baseball games as early as May? It's not entirely out of the question.
It is, though. The country is locked down till the beginning of April, or till the end of April. You think that they're just going to go, okay, we just got on lockdown. Let's have giant 65,000 people stadiums filled to the brim.
I could see Major League Baseball making that calculation for their bottom line. Sure.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, I'm not going to say it makes healthful sense to do so, but as we know, corporations aren't people, my friend, so they don't give a shit. Major League Baseball responded in a statement Tuesday that it's just one of several contingencies being considered, and that the league has, quote, not settled on that option or developed a detailed plan. Sure you haven't. You've developed plans. You just said contingencies are being considered. So you've developed plans. You just don't know which one you're going to pull the trigger on yet. Or you're not telling us which one it is. Thank you, Jaeger Pony. Sinatra and Japan watch baseball. It reminds me of the movie Mr. Baseball. You ever see that, Tom Selleck?
Not familiar with that one.
American baseball player gets recruited to play in the Japanese leagues, and he's like a giant over all these people and everything. Fun movie. Okay. Questions from ESPN. What is the soonest baseball could realistically be played under this plan? Okay. That depends completely on two major factors. Two major league factors. First, what are
awful.
First, what are the state and local mandates in place at the various sites considered for use? Yeah, if Colorado decides to lock down for an additional 3 weeks into May, what are you going to do? Then there's the collaboration between MLB and the players for any proposed plan. There are a lot of players with concerns about what's being discussed now, with some privately saying they would not participate. Well, if you had some kind of like team unified stay at home or strike kind of thing over this, that would be a black eye, wouldn't it? It's like the league says, we're going to have baseball in May, and the team's like, fuck you. Oh. That'd be interesting. Anyway.
I mean, even if the team did that, they could just get new players in. There's no way every one of them are going to go, fuck you. It's just not going to happen.
Well, but if they all do it, then public relations wise, the team would look like abs. I mean, the fans would completely rebel if they just decided to bring in scabs on a bunch of players who were like, I'm concerned about my health and my family's health, so I'm not going to.
Right.
They would be ill advised to bring in replacements if the other players were like, no, I'm going to wait until it's all clear. I hear more advice on the health situation, or if they said, I don't feel like encouraging people to risk their health by coming to a baseball game right now.
That would make sense.
Yeah, if a whole bunch of players issued a letter, like if the MLB said, we're going to do this, and a whole bunch of players put out a letter to the public and published in the New York Times and says, we as players are concerned with our fans' health just as we are with our families. We have chosen collectively not to encourage people at this time to congregate at Major League Baseball games. Etc. That would close the lid on that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'll do one more here because we started a little late. Okay, interesting. This one comes from Jack the motherfucking Cockring. And 2 children sue Google for allegedly collecting students' biometric data.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the lawsuit says the search giant violated privacy laws with its educational tools. Okay. 2 children from Illinois are suing Google for allegedly collecting biometric data, including face scans of millions of students through the search giant software tools for classrooms. The lawsuit, filed Thursday in a federal court in San Jose, California, is seeking class action status. The children, known only as HK and 47, oh, sorry, that was my joke. HK and JC in the complaint are suing through their father, Clinton Farwell. Excuse me. That's not Corona. That's just me getting a drink of water. Google is using its services to create face templates and voice prints of children, the complaint says, through a program in which the search giant provides school districts across the country with Chromebooks and free access to G Suite for Education apps. Those apps include student versions of Gmail, Calendar, and Google Docs. The data collection would likely violate Illinois' Biometric Information Privacy Act, or BIPA, which regulates facial recognition, fingerprinting, and other biometric technologies in the state. The practice would also likely... Do you need a moment?
Sorry.
The practice would also likely run afoul of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA. Wouldn't that be funny if Google got nicked again by COPPA for a different reason?
I hope they do.
Oh, boy. A federal law that requires sites to get parental consent when collecting personal information from users who are under 13 years old. Yeah, YouTube, Google tried to push all that responsibility onto the content creators when we have absolutely no control over what Google or YouTube does with the information. And if they're doing it independently of their own accord, yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, I mean, they try to push COPPA on all of us, and they end up getting hit for it for stealing actual data, not running ads. Get what you fucking deserve, Google.
Yeah, face prints, voice prints, fingerprints, anything else.
And that is hardcore data too.
Right.
That's not, your viewing preferences. That's your data.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all the stories. Appreciate it. Sorry to get to them all, but some just take up more time than others because of bewilderment and outrage. But with that, we're going to move on to YouTube time. I will go first because I don't have much to report. I didn't do anything today except this. But I also remind that at least as of this broadcast, and everything's tentative because, life happens, Kate Kennedy, adult film actress, will be our guest on Friday night this week. She had to reschedule from tonight because of some other things that happened. And so look forward to that on Friday. If that changes for some reason, I will let you guys know as soon as I know, either on Twitter or in the chat, depending on how much time there is.
You were going to have a Prawn Star on?
Yes. So our loyal viewer, Princess Unicorn Nipples, who apparently is following Kate Kennedy on Twitter, she posted the other day. She says, "Hey, I'm on. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm on lockdown and I'm bored and lonesome. does anybody have a podcast I might be able to come on to and just kind of talk or something? And so Unicorn sort of tagged me in that tweet, and I was like, sure, okay. So I sent her an invite, or I sent her a message saying, hey, this is the show, this is what we do. If you'd like to come on, just let me know. And we follow each other, got into DMs, trade some info, and yeah. So she should. No. Although I did show her the thumbnail I've created for the night where she arrives, which is I put a lot of work into it.
Are you following her on Twitter? I want to see who this is. Yes,
I'm following her on Twitter. Her Twitter handle, for those of you that are interested, is it's
Kennedy or something.
Yeah, at the OG Kennedy. So at the OG Kennedy, Kennedy. That's her. But yeah. So again, Friday night is the schedule now. So that's all the YouTube stuff I've got. I should say, though, that tomorrow I plan on doing a TED Excellence stream around somewhere in between 11 a.m. and noon Pacific time. And I will put at least a half-hour warning up on Twitter when I get ready to do that. It depends on how work treats me tomorrow, as with all days.
Oh, she's pretty hot.
Well, she's a professional. And that's all I got. Satsu.
Hopefully she'll follow me back and join the array of adult film stars following me now.
Oh yeah, I mean I've got a few interesting accounts following me just after following her, which is interesting. Anyway, Satsu, what are you up to?
I don't know if I did anything today. No, I didn't do anything YouTube-wise today. I do got some backlogged cooking videos that need to go up, whatever. And I was going to do a Resident Evil stream at some point throughout the day, but Squeedus was just not having it. she like, nope, not today, bruh. This nap shit is for the birds, son. And I'm like, but I want to stream. And she like, that sounds like a personal problem. So yeah, that didn't happen. I was gonna do some voice work on a couple of cooking videos too, but like I said, so didn't do much. I do have plans to get some of that stuff done tomorrow, because I got a little strategy that I'm gonna test out and some timing to try to get her napping so I can get to work. Because she's been very active. Now that she can move around and stuff like that, just placing her in something to sit down in or something like that shit don't really work no more. Like she will climb the fuck out of it.
Yeah, wait till she can just pull herself out of the walker.
Yeah. It's getting to that point. So she demands more attention, and she can explore, and she's grabbing stuff and holding on to stuff, and she's got enough strength to pull shit down. So things are getting a little more, I can't just kind of sit her somewhere like I used to. So it is what it is. Not complaining. That's just my job. So it is what it is. Yeah, that's it for me as far as YouTube stuff goes.
All right. Oh, and Zombie Teddy reminds, I did a stream with Monkey this morning. That's right. I popped into his after party stream for about an hour because I had a blank space in my work morning where I was waiting for stuff to post and everything. So I had some free time, just kind of chit chat while I waited for things to go, and then I had to split. But yeah, talked to him about all types of stuff, and that was fun. Sinatra, what do you got?
I finished up a video today. I've been dealing with an advertiser for like the past 2 weeks, and we finally nailed down a deal and got it all hammered out today. That'll be going up tomorrow. Did Tucker Tuesday too, and that's about it. Been a busy day.
Okay. I'm being silly on Twitter for a second. All right. Well, then we can move on to the wonderful world of not MSS News. Well, let's try that again. Internet fucketry. Brains. There's three rails that I go on for this show. It's news, MSS News, and fucketry. And apparently those rails got crossed all of a sudden. But let's see. I got a little bit. Keeping in the theme of one of the earlier stories we read from CNN, the Washington Post posted this. As the novel coronavirus sweeps across the U.S., it appears to be infecting and killing Black Americans at a disproportionately high rate, according to an analysis of early data. And I said, when it comes to pushing racist paranoia, no crisis can go to waste, can it, Washington Post? What else was going on today? Let's see. That was just, we talked about the Navy Secretary. So this headline that I Think I'm Real posted, it says, Israel Health Minister, who claims coronavirus is divine punishment for homosexuality, tests positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now, I hope this person stays well, but there is a certain level of schadenfreude if that is true. So, NPR had this. China reported no deaths from COVID-19 today for the first time since it began publishing data about the outbreak more than 2 months ago. And I said, and we totally believe them, don't we, guys?
Of course.
We. Another nugget from the Washington Post. Fashion will survive, but many of the designers at the heart of the industry might not. And I said, we're all vulnerable one way or another. Fashion designers are not special people. Because in this instance, they're not. People are people. Everybody's life is precious in its own way. I guess unless you're the Israeli Minister of Health, but you know.
Somebody said that was fake, but I kind of doubt it.
What's that? Oh, the Israeli minister thing?
Yeah.
Again, it's a screenshot headline, and it doesn't give me a publication, so it may indeed be fake, but at the same time, certain things might not surprise me to be true. You know. Let's see. I think that's actually all I had. Oh, except for, remember that guy that was trying to get that girl in trouble for not selling him a toothbrush for like a penny or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this was his tweet the other day. The guy who tried to get a girl fired for not selling him the display model for a penny. He says, grocery workers are beginning to die from coronavirus for $7.25 an hour. Now he's really concerned.
Oh, yeah.
About
now he
growth.
is.
Yeah, now he is. But yep. Anyway, that's all I had. So, Satsu, what do you got?
Well, I saw this the story from the Business Insider going around saying that Spain is moving to permanently establish universal basic income due to coronavirus. And a lot of people are just like, oh, well, they can fucking do it. Why can't we? And I'm just like, well, I mean, two very different situations there. Not only that, like the coronavirus is hitting them extremely hard right now. So, you know, probably the hardest than anywhere else from what I've seen. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if those are the same thing, but everybody's just like, yeah, we should definitely do that because Spain is now. I'm like, all right, y'all gonna take every opportunity you see, huh? And this comes from I'm assuming the Business Insider is to be trusted in regards to information like this. So that was one of the things I saw today. I did see they said CNN Anderson Cooper claims no timeline for PPE has been provided after CNN refused to air press conferences during which military officers provided a timeline for PPE. Yeah. And it's a clip of Anderson Cooper just like, no, there's no timeline. There's no information, nothing out there telling us when. It's like, well, you didn't air it. And you also didn't watch it. And then I was thinking that too. Like, I wonder if these idiots are not only not airing it, but they're not watching it too. Just this news organization that's supposed to be up on whatever's going on. They couldn't be just completely ignoring it, could they?
I believe that they could be completely ignoring it just out of spite or something. They're being so childish about this shit.
Fucking idiots. So,
I mean, at least behave in a way that is opposite from the person you constantly complain about being a childish bully. You know, I mean, you don't win any battles by acting similarly to what you're criticizing someone else for doing. You really don't.
Yeah. It is hilarious watching people like that person who does this list of things that I am doing at this exact moment is a scumbag piece of shit for doing these things. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes you a scumbag piece of shit, doesn't it?
Well, yeah.
Not me. No, just he. I said he's a scumbag for doing it. If I was Trump, then I'd be a scumbag for doing it too. I also saw the PS5 controller. They're calling it the DualSense, and this thing looks kind of fucking cool. I'm a little concerned about the buttons. I think they're clear. Like I think they're like the actual button part is like clear or whatever, because they kind of look a little pushed into the controller, but maybe that's just the way it looks.
Wait, it's called the DualSense?
Yeah, the DualSense.
Did they steal your name?
No. You know what I mean. Shut up.
What? Oh, I was. Never mind.
That was good.
Fine.
That one was good.
Come on, give me a little credit, Jesus.
You know what I said. I ain't say sense, fool.
Fine,
So I'm a little excited because the controller looks pretty cool. So I'm thinking that the system should be okay. What I am looking forward to though is what they're gonna do about VR for next gen, because their VR headset right now is fine, and that's all it is. It is fine. It's about as standard as you can get, and it provides a decent enough service, but it's clunky and it's just kind of ridiculous to deal with at the current moment, and hooking it up is a pain in the ass. So I'm wondering if they're going to really step up their game as far as VR for the PS5. I'm hoping that is the case, but we will see. But the controller looks cool so far. People seem to be pretty happy with the specs, and I'm excited to see the system. So I don't know if that's fucketry. It might be fucketry for some X-boys or PC people, because they're just like, oh, fuck you guys. Stop getting excited about stuff you like. And I'm like, you'll be all right. Was there any other fucketry that I got into today? Oh, yeah. Alyssa Monato.
Alyssa Monopoly.
Alyssa Milano is doubling down on her tweet before, where she said, I explained my silence on the allegations against Joe Biden. She says, there is something to the idea that people are going to weaponize Me Too, as if Me Too is not a weapon. Like it wasn't literally created to be a weapon. But cool. We're going to weaponize Me Too for political gain. Just look at the replies here and look to see who those accounts are supporting in the primary. Okay. There always needs to be a thorough vetting of accusations.
Now. Not before, but now.
Now.
When it was Kavanaugh, when it was Trump, no vetting needed. Biden, we need a thorough vetting.
Check this out. This is a post from her. Zero tolerance. If we don't hold all accountable for horrible behavior, nothing changes. Senator Al Franken, you should not be in the position to represent the female constituents in your state, because they questioned it at the time. Here's another post by her. I stand in solidarity with Christine Blasey Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Me Too. I believe survivors. That was another one from her.
Real quick, thank you, Jaeger Pony. At least you didn't say Alyssa Mulatto.
What are you doing?
No.
Jesus Christ.
No? Okay, fine.
I didn't. You actually have that on a soundboard. That's amazing. All right.
You never know when you're going to need the Archer ringtone.
Your parent, yeah, apparently so. Sorry, Satsu.
Let's see. Oh, and this was another one. I don't know who she was responding to, but the response is, right, this is clearly a smear campaign, and Warren not endorsing Bernie when their policies line up to me means she was telling the truth about what he said. Now, I don't know what the fuck that's comparing to. Even today, you're weaponizing Believe Women for political. What is that in reference to?
What? Can you repeat that?
It says, this is clearly a smear campaign, and Warren not endorsing Bernie when their policies line up to me means she was about him saying that a woman can't be president.
All right.
Okay. So
which
that was
which he totally said, by the way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would no proof of it, but he definitely said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been interesting kind of watching her. I mean, she is sticking to her guns though. Like she ain't backing down. She's like, I'm sticking with this narrative. That's it. And for some reason, not believing a woman who claims to be sexually assaulted is better than voting for Bernie. So, I mean, I guess pick your battles, whatever.
Well,
Anyway.
the only reason their policies line up is because she stole all of his policies.
Right. That's all my fucking shit though. I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. Sinatra, you got anything?
I do, but you have a super chat there.
Yep. Thank you, Cryptic. Warren hasn't consulted with the bird spirit yet. Oh.
Have you seen this shit with Adele?
So the story being that she's worth $190 million, and now a divorce judge just awarded her now ex-husband $140 million.
Oh, man. People and females are fucking pissed.
Well, first off, is that true? Is that a true story? Okay. Yeah, no, I've seen people go like, oh my God, he should just die or something, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
he needs to die a brutal death and shit like that.
Yeah, whereas
he cheated on her.
Yeah, if it was a guy who was rich and a woman like taking him for everything that he had because he was a jerk in the marriage or something, that lady would be a hero.
Yeah, all the same people would be like, get that money, queen. Yeah, but now it's the other way around. The females are like, and there's guys on there going, get that money, king. Secure that bag.
Oh,
and there's women commenting on it going, he doesn't deserve it. She'll be fine. 40 million is good enough.
And this, well, I mean, it's a crazy amount of money, but yeah, no, she's got song royalties until the end of time.
Oh my God, does she? And
besides, it's 40. Yeah, if she's got 40 million pounds or dollars or whatever left over. Yeah, I don't begrudge anybody being rich or anything, but at the same time, if you are only kind of rich, I mean, depending on how you lose your money, if it's stolen from you, that's a completely different thing. If you lose it legitimately, either by the law or the laws of the land that affect everybody and everything else, but you're still a millionaire, multi-millionaire, like if you can't stretch $40 million to cover your lifestyle, I'm not quite sure what kind of lifestyle you were living, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway,
if you can't live off of 50 million with an income, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, she's got residuals from royalties going until the end of time. Her songs and the movie tracks that she's done and everything else. She's not going poor. She's not going hungry. So,
and no, she's especially not going hungry.
Well, okay, that's fat shaming. Stop it.
Took 140 million off that fat bitch. Good for him.
I'm curious because I don't know. I'm curious to know why that much money. Like, what was the argument or what's the law that initiated that? Because that, I mean, regardless, like on either side, that is far. I mean, if she's only got 190 million and like her net worth is 190 million and he gets 140 million, what the hell happened where he qualifies for that percentage of her wealth? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah,
regardless.
what did she do to him?
Yeah. Thank you, Officer Buck. Plays a clip from the South Park anti-piracy episode. Yeah, well.
You see Evil One's comment?
Adele needs a trough to feed it. I thought she lost a bunch of weight, though.
Yeah, but she's still fat. Like, she can lose weight, but she's still a fat girl.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I commented on... So, Trump posted something about the WHO being fucked up. And
Right.
somebody... Hey, let me pull it up so I can get the exact tweet here. I'm just on my phone. Somebody replied, "You really blew it. You spent months lying about the pandemic. You should resign." And I made a mistake, and I'm never going to do this again. I said, "Proof?"
No.
Oh no, you didn't.
My Twitter has been
you didn't.
insufferable.
Yeah.
All fuck. I must have gotten, no exaggeration, there's 52 comments on it, and I think more than half of them are the same picture of him golfing.
Okay.
It's like, why? What? Why? But there were like 2 really good replies. One person just said, shut up. And another person who's supposedly an educated, patriotic atheist, horrified at the Republican Party, who support the orange clown shit currently occupying the White House just for tax cuts, said, wake up, buddy. Fucking what?
Okay.
Yeah, but that just, I'm never doing that again. I am never, ever doing that again. And Brittany Venti and Josh Moon, the guy from Kiwi Farms, have been fighting on Twitter today, and it is fucking hilarious.
Over what, might I ask?
Let me go back to the original. Brittany posted a selfie of her trying to look really sexy and said, guys, what if you woke up and my stinky poo-poo was in your room? Hee hee.
What?
And he said, you know I'm right, you know she stinks. She replied, is this the best people have? She probably smells like because that's what she said. And Josh, God.
Real quick, thank you, Chat Mort. It's always hard for me to pity heartbroken singers who make really good music about being heartbroken. It depends on the singer, you know. I mean, you can feel sorry for somebody on an emotional level, but at the same time go like, yeah, but you're not starving.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people, even rich people can be emotionally traumatized by horrible relationships and things. So I can empathize with people on human level with regards to stuff, even if they're like Johnny Depp. You know, is there any way not to have sympathy for Johnny Depp at this point and totally like think Amber Heard should be prosecuted? So anyway, sorry, Sinatra.
Wait, Kyler, why am I an idiot? What did I? Oh, commenting on the thing. And Josh replied, you look like shit. You sleep in shit. Seeing pictures of you makes my nose curl like I just smelled shit, which I do because it makes me smell shit. It's a psychological Pavlov conditioning created by watching your animals shit in your bed. And she replied, me not making your pee-pee hard isn't an argument.
Oh my God.
And he said, you don't have to be sexual attractive to not look and smell like shit. This PP hardline is desperate. Just use the word incel like the low IQ fembot you actually are. You're gross, your content sucks, and your fans are simps in denial, and you smell like shit.
Holy fuck.
You know, this is just it's comical. I mean, nobody can take this seriously, and anybody who does. Oh man. Thank you, Cryptic. Britney Spears is so poor she wants communism. What?
Yeah.
Is she a Bernie bro?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
And I don't think she replied past that, because if I were her, I wouldn't. There are literal videos of her, like, I think she has cats and a small dog,
Yeah.
just taking a shit on her bed.
Okay, well, that's just poorly house-trained animals.
Yeah, but she got fucking demolished.
Sinatra,
but-
are you done with fucketry?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, because I just saw something that's really fucked up. This dude said, my wife sewed this face mask for me to protect me from the Wuhan virus and to show support for President Trump. And it's a face mask that just says Trump 2020.
Okay.
And a person responded. This is Erica Waters, RN practitioner. This was her response. I'll see you in the ER. Please wear your mask so when we have to decide who gets the vent, it'll be easier.
Wow. That's great. That's great.
Ex-GOP fact checker, Q blocker, mute often salty words. That's what she has in there.
Wow. Yeah, choosing who lives or dies based on their political views. Gosh, that sounds familiar to something to me.
Mm-hmm.
I
wonder
wonder
what
if
that was.
she's going to lose her RN license because of that.
I truly hope so. I'm sure somebody reported it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, hospital, just so you know, you got a political zealot here. So if they find out that they don't agree with you, they might be making decisions or be biased, etc. Yeah. Okay. Was that it, guys?
Yep.
All right, well, chat. Now it's your time. If you have questions, comments, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories, if you have some numbers you'd like to throw out there for, I don't know, how many people are going to contract. What's a good one? I don't know. I had a joke, but it disappeared. That's how good I am tonight, guys. Boy, this is the second time now. I almost tried to have something funny happen, and I fucked it up. Why am I here? Why do I bother? I'm trying to be funny. Trying to be entertaining. I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Shelly in the chat says, if she was a Republican and the rest of her message doesn't matter, get me a beer, please.
What?
Go get her a beer.
Yeah, get me a beer.
No.
Wow. Okay. Pirates Creed, how many porn stars do you now have, Sinatra?
I have Alex Bates, I want to say her name is, Charlotte, her husband, and a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head.
In your basement. Assassin of the Gray, Scribe Life, funny how leftists are morally allowed to hate. I mean, if you're within, whether it's left or right, if you're within that team of things, you're allowed to hate the same things and get encouraged to it. It's really, I mean, political tribalism will always allow you to hate with permission, depending on what you're talking about. Kiever Dam, Sinatra says, did you see my message about us getting our stimulus checks this month according to the IRS? I've heard various things like you'll get them in the first 2 weeks, or you'll get them in 5 months, or some crazy stuff, depending if your tax returns got applied already, or I don't even know what the conditions are at this point.
I heard the only people not getting them besides illegals, sorry, AOC, was dads who owe child support.
Yeah,
but
right.
The fucked up thing is the money isn't going to the parents who get the child support. The government's just keeping it.
Okay. Huh. Interesting.
And I read today that the checks were going out later this week or early next week.
Yeah, they said into April latest.
Huh. Okay. Harvest Marvos, did any of you see Rose?
I'm sorry. Kiever Dam said the 13th, and that seems to be the general consensus that I got was the 13th.
Okay.
Harvest Marvos, did any of you see Rose McGowan not only criticize Milano about Biden, but implied that because Milano's husband is a CAA agent?
Oh, yeah. She did like a live thing, too, and she was like dogging her.
What's CAA?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. Let's see. Chat jumped. Chatmore says, my cat has 3 dots on her nose, and I scratched one, and it fell off, and I actually had an existential crisis because I thought they were markings, and they were actually blackheads all this time. Well, I'm glad that your cat's okay, and now her complexion's better.
Oh, my God. A funny cat-related thing I saw is this dude said, my cat ran away. I found it and brought it home, and then my cat came home. So now I have 2 identical cats.
Yeah, I saw that picture. It's like, even if that story isn't true, that's amazing. That's a great story. Yeah, but now you wonder, like, well, whose cat did you find?
Whose cat did you steal, dude?
Yeah.
James Colley over on the Streamlabs. Where is Monkey? He took the night off, I believe.
Yep.
And why can't Scribe get good? I don't know. He's pretty good if you ask me.
Because I'm perpetually always going to be slightly faltering because I have poor self-confidence issues. You know, it's probably because of my dad. And, oh wait, you don't want to hear all that shit. Never mind. Cryptic. CAA is a sports talent agency for athletes. Oh, okay. I thought it was a misspelling of CIA, and I was like, Alyssa Milano's husband is a CIA agent? That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't fucking surprise me.
Taco Pekka. Speaking of Alyssa Milano, do you like Milano cookies? Are those the chocolate mint ones?
No. They're the like shortbread cookies with chocolate smushed in between them.
Oh yeah. I like those. I like the mint ones too that are like those. The mint Milanos. I've had those. Yeah. But they're like, they always come in like such limited quantities in those little bags. Like it seems so, it's so exotic and such a luxury. You only get a little bit.
It's just fucking Pepperidge Farm.
Yeah, Pepperidge Farm's overpriced, except for goldfish, which I will, Actually, I haven't had goldfish in 2 weeks now. Holy cats, thank you, Jaeger Pony. Scribe for Moonbase Overseer. Hey, I'm still running for president, guys. Scribe 2020, hashtag Moonbase. Moonbase will solve all of our problems. I swear it will. I don't care what they say about the Artemis project in 2024. I'm talking about launching something to land 2021. We can do it. You know, Kennedy said we can do it by the end of the decade, put a man on the moon. We did it. Well, we've come farther than that. We can put Moonbase on the moon. Even if it's an unmanned mission to begin with, just to put the thing on the moon and have it ready for us, we're going to do that. I'm telling you. Oh, Lord, says Winter. Did you know that it is illegal in only 9 U.S. states to have bedroom intimacy with your first cousin? You can thank Monkey for this fact.
Oh, my God.
Why does Monkey know that?
I was about to ask, why would Monkey look that up?
I got a funny cat story.
Okay.
So, you remember me talking about that big 125-gallon tank? The one that the cat fucked up and made my floor fucked up?
Yes.
We broke it down today because the floor is really bad and I don't want to chance anything.
Yeah.
So Shelly was in there scooping out the rocks and she walked away or did something. I walked in there and the cat was just standing on it looking down like, where'd the fish go? Because when I would feed them or Shelly would feed them, the cat would stick their head in there and take laps of the water.
Yeah.
Fish flavored water. Why not? And now the cat's like, what the fuck? Where'd my water go?
No. You see, what the cat was doing was trying to find its corona cure.
Oh, yeah.
That's why she's licking the water. She's like, this is going to keep me healthy.
Oh, my God, dude.
What?
I was scrolling down Twitter and I saw a post that said, my son just told me he saw my ass on Instagram, so he blocked me.
That's great.
My favorite thing is like you can have butt cheeks on your Instagram or your kids, not both.
Right.
Zeo Gold. Oh, Lords, would you eat barbecued flavored chips dipped in chocolate pudding?
No.
That sounds weird.
I wouldn't. And it says, if you get the reference, do you feel old? Well, apparently I don't, because not offhand. You know, I like barbecued flavored chips, most of them. Chocolate pudding, not so much by itself. But anyway. Dangerous Spaces. Scribe, are you suggesting a moon base to stop all those moon rocks Brianna Wu is warning us about?
Oh my God, it's so hot in here.
I know. Keep that door open. Thank you.
No, I'm not talking about stopping the moon rocks. I'm talking about collecting the moon rocks and mining them for helium-3, which we could then use to fuel jet fuel to send us off to Mars.
My best friend in the entire world is an engineer, and I sent him that bit from Brianna Wu. He thought that was fucking hilarious.
Most people do. Thank you, Cody Fry. Scrotus 2020, hashtag Moonbase, hashtag Plunge the Swamp. Jesus. I haven't introduced Plunge the Swamp yet, but I guess it would make some sense. My chat jump. So, guys, if I missed your question, please post it again. Dangerous Spaces, Lords of the Night. The media is now saying Trump is trying to profit from hydroxychloroquine on a scale of 1 to a Jim Acosta. How bad is the media getting at the moment? Well, we talked about this on Monkey's show earlier today, and purportedly the amount of interest that Trump has in a company that could conceivably profit off of that drug amounts to about $3,000. And Monkey's like, oh, $3,000 is nothing. They're making nothing out of it. And I said, well, hey, wait a second. If I owned $3,000 worth of Microsoft before it went public, you know, that $3,000 could turn into quite a bit. Do you have do you need some like Pepto or something?
No, I'm drinking beer.
That doesn't answer my question.
No.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, the media is not incorrect. Trump does own interest in a company that could conceivably profit off of the sale of that drug. The amount, the motivation he would have to push that drug over something else as a result of that one small investment. I mean, I suppose Trump could be that sort of financially petty, to put it a particular way, but I would be surprised. Jack Gunsky, would you eat a Twinkie wiener sandwich?
No.
No. Not even if I were Weird Al would I do that. And I got that reference. Devil Fruit Zero, Scribe Light, does Sinatra have a thing with fish like Troy Maguire from Simpsons? I don't know. Do you fuck fish, Sinatra?
No.
Oh, okay. And then by the way, that was Troy McClure. You said Troy McClure? McClure. Attack Alpaca. If Scribe gets a moon base, would he invite all of his Lords of the Night buddies for at least a visit, including chat? If you can pay the bill. No, I don't know. Sure. I don't know how that would work. And everybody in chat up there, that'd be amazing.
I'm screen sharing something amazing I just found on Twitter.
Okay.
Tell me when you get it.
Just found out about 40% keyboards and decide to make this 42% keyboard. I'm not seeing the picture well enough to know what the joke is.
Look at the colors.
I'm obviously oblivious. I don't know what the joke is.
It's a trans flag.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, okay. I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
I guess it's funny because I'm stupid. Chatmort says too soon. Sinatra, come on. Oh boy. Backscan. When do you have the porn star on? Or when you have the porn star on, will you ask if you can tie her up? No.
Can I be on when she comes on?
We'll see.
Please?
I thought you already invited her on your own show.
No, I invited her to Fright Power Hour. I invited her on somebody else's show.
Oh, cool. There you go.
But I want to be on it for yours because you're you.
Yeah. No. My intention is to have somebody on as a guest just to hang out and talk, and it's not going to be an interview show. She can talk about whatever she wants to talk about. I just, just like with any other guest that I'd have on, it would just be someone who's a new Lord of the Night part of the show for the night. That's all.
Are you going to give her a Lord name?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that. I was going to ask her either before or maybe just during the intro and say, so, everybody who's a friend of the show gets a Lord name. So what would you like to be Lord of? And of course, it's like a Lord name with a P word. And I'm like, well, of course, what the obvious choice would be. But I don't know. She might think of something else. So.
Lord of Prolapse Danuses.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Thanks for that. That's great.
Lord of Porn?
No, really? No, I hadn't thought of that. Really?
James Colley for 3 said to answer the Wait, hold on. The answer to the grandma question is the bitch giving me socks for Christmas? With a bunch of question marks after it. What?
The grandma question? I don't know what that means.
Yes, she is giving you socks.
Okay. Motto Winter. Oh, Lords, would you try a roasted pheasant stuffed with bacon stuffing, a side of mashed red skinned potatoes with a flagon of cherry vodka?
Can we just, as a group, come together and decide to stop taking questions from Mata?
All of that sounds fine. But the cherry vodka part, the very first hard liquor I ever had was well vodka at a cheap ass bar the night I turned 21. Like I was in college, and it was the night I turned 21. Or I should say, I turned 21 like at midnight. And so my friend shows up at my dorm and says, "You're 21 now, right?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm taking you out." Like, okay, so we go to this skeezy college bar, in town. And I mean, it was fine, but it's like, hole in the wall kind of thing. And so he says, "I'm buying you your drink. What do you want?" And I said, "Well, if I'm going to drink, I might as well go all the way for my first time. Give me some straight vodka." He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." And lady comes up, and I know this sounds like some kind of stupid badass thing, but that's because I was trying to be a stupid badass. She comes up and says, "What can I get you?" And my friend's about to he said something about getting me like Grey Goose or some really fancy thing. And I stopped him. I looked at her. I said, "I want 2 shots of the cheapest vodka you've got."
Oh, you madman.
I know, right? Because I was trying to be really cool. Like I'm sitting there like by myself with my best friend at the time. And we're not with anybody. There's no girls to impress or anything, but I was just like, what the hell? So she brings over like 2 shot glasses of just, it's clear liquid, but I'd find out later it's basically paint thinner. And, I lift up the first one, and my friend's looking at me. He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, I might as well. And I down the thing. I was like, oh, it's like burning fire all the way through my chest. Like, oh my God. And he says, yeah, well, you got one more to go. And I'm like, I guess I do. And like, whoa, oh God. And he says, all right, well, how do you feel? Like, oh, like an adult. Yeah.
I have been drinking since I was like 15 or 16. So about 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been able to tolerate straight vodka ever. I can do Maker's Mark. I can do Firewater. I can do rum.
Yeah.
I can do any liquor except for vodka.
I can still do it. I don't like, and it'll just be like if all someone has is vodka, I can take a shot, but I don't do them in succession. It's like one, maybe a second one an hour later or something, because that stuff hits me like a Mack truck. It really does. And it's enough. It just in one shot. It's tough enough to take a straight, not sipping shot of a shot glass. I see guys who are Russian and they'll sip out of a shot glass, and that's fine with them. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's fine. But I always inclined to just like down the thing. But even then, it's like, whew.
No.
But yeah, if you have a sore throat though, man, shot of vodka, it'll give you a temporary clear up real quick.
I got a fucking gallon of rum in here.
Cryptic, thank you. My dad was ahead of the time. He's been taking the social distancing shit seriously. I haven't seen him in 23 years. Yeah. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. That sounds like a Nikolai reaction. Is that GTA 4?
Yeah.
That kind of Nikolai? Yeah, maybe.
Somebody in the chat has been asking incessantly how we drink our coffee in the morning.
I don't drink coffee.
Really?
No, I've never gotten a taste for it. It's always been very bitter to me. I drink hot cocoa. That's about as morning regular a drink that I have. I haven't had that in a couple of weeks now, of course, because I can't get to a Starbucks or whatever, and I don't have any at home. So, but yeah, I don't drink coffee.
Do you do caffeine at all?
Sure, but just not coffee.
How do you get your caffeine drink?
Pepper Jacks.
Okay. How do you drink your coffee?
Satsu's not even here, guys. He's playing Resident Evil 3.
No, I'm not. People can. No, I haven't drunk coffee in a while. I have a what are those things called? The Keurig.
Keurig, yeah, Keurig.
Yeah, I got one of those, and I used to make coffee all the time. If I do drink it, it's with cream and sugar. I don't drink it black because I'm dark enough.
Oh, Johnny Elkett says it's Nikolai is a type of vodka. Okay, yeah, I don't know what the vodka was. I just said, give me your cheapest vodka. So it could have been anything. I have no idea.
I drink. I found my favorite brand finally because I stopped drinking Monsters roughly about a year ago, and I found my favorite brand. It's Death Wish, and I just drink it black. Just black.
I will say though,
like black,
since the very first vodka I ever had was like the absolute worst vodka. Every time I've had vodka since, it's always put up against that taste memory of that experience.
Oh,
so I've been able to tell, at least from my own perspective, whether a vodka is of higher quality, like smoother than the stuff that I had the first time. So like if somebody says, here, try some vodka, I won't be able to like identify the brand necessarily without seeing the bottle or something, but I can tell I have a sort of, at least from my perspective, an innate sense of like whether this is more quality vodka than the crap that I had the first time because of its smoothness and its kick. So
have you ever gotten really sick off an alcohol, then you can't drink it again?
Oh yeah. That's why I can't drink dark liquor.
Not alcohol, but when I was 12 or 13, I think, I had a bad batch of chocolate milk. Like I got crazy food poisoning to the point I was hallucinating and just throwing up for like half an hour. It was terrible. And ever since then, I've never been able to drink chocolate milk. Now, hot cocoa, I'm perfectly fine with, right? But specifically chocolate milk, like cold chocolate milk, I cannot go near. I will not touch. I'm immediately repulsed by it.
Yeah, I have that with Jack Daniels. I'm like 90% sure it's something I ate before because I've drank Jack 150 times and been fine.
Yeah.
But this once, and when I throw up, the only thing I want to do afterwards is go to sleep. I don't know why. Always been that way since I was a kid. I was drinking Jack, and I was pretty fucked up. So it might have been the Jack. I don't know. But I threw up in this guy's yard and just fell asleep in his fucking yard. And this girl I was dating at the time had to get me up and take me home.
God. Now, when I drank the bad chocolate milk, Assassin of the Gray says Scribe saw the Christina Aguilera monsters. No, literally what I saw, what I hallucinated, and I still remember this. I was at imagine the most like stereotypical horror movie where you go to a dark, evil carnival, right? I was basically going through evil Disneyland. I imagined I was at an amusement park or something where like the carousel was built. It looked like some kind of gothic structure with like spikes all over it and monsters in it and shit. It was the most bizarre, vivid thing. It was worse than a bad dream because it was that sort of like right in front of me, like I was actually experiencing it. It was so terrible, and I think psychologically speaking, not only the actual illness and the cause of it being this like whatever it was, like some bad batch of chocolate milk, but just that it entwined with it just makes me like shudder away from chocolate milk now.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, for me it was dark liquor because my mom was giving me mudslides that she was making.
Oh fuck!
And I drank way too many of them bitches, and now I can't do that anymore. And also the second thing is like already pre-bottled iced coffee, like the stuff that you can buy that's already. I stay away from that shit because I got food poisoning from that one time, and it was horrible.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those. I grabbed one of those a couple of days ago, just because I was in a hurry, and I grabbed one of the Starbucks glass bottles. It had mold around the top of it, like where the liquid sits. And I was like, guys, your whole stash of Starbucks is bad.
Yeah. Well, somebody fucked me over for mine. Sorry.
Delfruit Zero, Scribe like you don't keep some Swiss Miss in your cabinet for your cocoa fix. I had some, instant cocoa mix, but I've used it all up and I didn't get enough, or I didn't think to get any when it came time to start stocking up. So I've got like one packet left of, I think it's Swiss Miss, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, so I've got a little, but I'm rationing it, I suppose.
Yeah, my iced coffee thing. I put mine in the freezer to make it cold. Like I just wanted to get cold, and I fell asleep and forgot that I left it in the freezer. But when I put it into the freezer, somebody took it out so it wouldn't freeze. So when I went back to look, it was in the fridge, and I'm like, I thought I put this in the freezer. So I put it back in the freezer. And then I came back and I drank it afterwards after it unthawed, and that shit fucked me up. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it was horrible.
Chatmore says, I had that with French bread pizza. I didn't know I was allergic to the pain meds they gave me after surgery. Wait, what? You were allergic to the pain meds. What's that got to do with the pizza you ate? I'm missing some message somewhere in there that explains that one.
Yeah, it seemed like that was two different.
Yeah,
talking about the food that fucked you up.
Well, I know, but I mean, so was she just like sick after having the French bread, and they just relate the two together?
I guess.
I don't know.
About a month after I got out of the hospital last year, I went back in because I got crazy food poisoning. And, I just gotten over a stroke. I just gotten out of the hospital. I didn't want to take any chances. So I went back into the hospital. And what gave it to me was an everything pizza from Papa John's. And my first... Go ahead.
What?
I thought you were going to read that, Super.
No, go ahead.
The first meal they gave me in the hospital was a fucking pizza. And I was like, are you shitting me?
Jaeger Pony, thank you. Sounds like it was laced, Scribe. I did one smoke up with a friend. He laid it up with mushrooms. I thought I was in the opening to Are You Afraid of the Dark? I don't know. I mean, it was one of those like big jugs of chocolate milk, and I loved chocolate milk my entire childhood up to that point. And then that one day, and then I don't know. It was just terrible. So I don't know if it was like, I have no idea what caused it, but I know that the only reason I got sick was because of that stuff, because that was really what was causing everything. And so Maybe I was drugged or something. I don't know. Or maybe it screwed me up, and that's why I am the way I am today. That'd be something. You okay over there?
Yeah. Can you hear that? I turned away from my mic. I didn't think you could.
Yeah, no, I heard it.
My bad.
I got sensitive ears. Let's see. Karaman Majir, Satsu, you just reminded me about my pop that was in the freezer.
Why?
Because you were talking about your thing putting it in the freezer. Keep it cold.
Oh shit! Yeah, I'm freaking out over here because I keep seeing flashes outside of my window, and I'm like, "Is that
storming?
Is it okay?"
Yeah.
I'm like, are the police house? Am I fucking tripping?
No,
Well,
it's starting to storm.
Were you wearing a homemade mask, Satsu?
Oh god, no.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you.
C.W.
Ziogo-
Costin said, "I think Sinatra Says recommends Papa John's. I do. They're delicious."
Zio Gold, or Lords, which is worse, a woke horror movie or a horror movie made by the far right? A horror movie made by the far what would a horror movie made by the far right look like?
I have theories on what that could look like, but I don't feel like I should say them.
Probably an abortion movie.
I was gonna say Jews taking over.
Oh,
Nazi zombies.
no, Nazi zombies is like, you know, they're the bad. If the bad guys are the Nazis, it's not really a far right. Well, no, I guess it technically, you know, depends on how you look at it. Depends on how you look at it, I guess. Delford Zero, Scribe like communists, China, etc. Communists, China, etc. Okay, I don't have any context for that one. Nothing for you here. The far right at least have a fear of hell, so their demons and monsters would be top notch. Yeah, I guess a far right horror movie would be like Bless the Child. You ever see Bless the Child with Kim Basinger?
No.
It was, I think it came out around the same time as that Schwarzenegger movie that was The End of Days or whatever. And it was kind of the reverse Omen, I think, because like it was called Bless the Child, and Kim Basinger's in it, and it's about a child that's born who I believe the child, instead of being born like the son of Satan or whatever, it's a child that is born to be the next Messiah. And then, of course, the devil and his agents have to come and try to kill the child. And
I think
then
I have seen this.
Yeah, it's a very familiar. I don't know why it is. It just sticks into my head as a movie that I saw. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it's like one of those sort of like innocuous Exorcist / Omen sort of horror movie things. It's got a couple interesting parts in it.
Legion was like that with a prophet child that everybody had to protect.
Yeah, there was that one. The thing I remember the most about it is I won't give it away. I don't have a chance, but I mean, there's an effect at the very end, near the very end of the movie, where of course the final fight happens, where the devil finally makes his appearance. And even though I'm sure if I saw it now, the effect would be kind of dated looking, the way they did it at the time, the way the devil appeared, was very cool looking to me. Very cool visual. That's all I'll say. You can look it up yourself.
One thing this quarantine has had me doing more than anything is just watching movies.
Yeah.
Like I've watched, I think 6 in the past 5 days. I
pulled out, this is one that I would recommend sort of as a guilty pleasure kind of thing, because it's not a great movie, but it's all right. It's called Empire, and it stars John Leguizamo back in the day, and was it Peter Sarsgaard? And it's this sort of mini crime gangster movie. I don't want to say too much about it. It's sort of like tries to be a little bit Scorsese with also being a little bit Guy Ritchie in some places with being its crime stuff. It's pretty good. Like I say, it's a guilty pleasure kind of thing. It's back when Denise Richards was still like a superstar, sort of, and she's in that, so it's all right.
Can I bitch to you about an old movie real quick?
Real quick. Thank you, Gamer Valine. Hail Satan. Well, only if he's driving a cab. Real quick, Sinatra.
I watched A History of Violence today.
Oh, yeah. Great.
First time ever watching it.
Oh, okay.
I am so fucking annoyed by the end of that movie.
Well, because it's got kind of a happy ending, or
he just kind of sits back down.
Yeah.
and nobody says anything to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it leaves it open as to like, okay, so what happened 5 minutes after the movie shuts off, right? It's like, okay, so you're not, well, okay. If anybody hasn't seen History of Violence, based on a graphic novel, David Cronenberg directed this one. And he does not scrimp on obviously the violence, because that's the point of the movie to a certain extent. Won't give anything away. It's a great little movie, not for the faint of heart in several places.
Definitely not.
But Viggo Mortensen does a great job. Ed Harris does a great job. So yeah, if you like Cronenberg, it's definitely a departure from things like Videodrome or Existenz or Naked Lunch and Crash. Well, it might be a little Crash.
Does Ed Harris play the same role in every movie?
Oh, he's not always that nasty, a creepy a villain. He could be
good.
Well, he can be like a villain with honor, like in The Rock.
I didn't see that one. You
didn't see The Rock with Connery and Nicolas Cage?
The Rock.
Okay, guys.
96.
Well, with that.
Oh wait, I have a Streamlabs real quick. A far right movie would be a white farmer living in South Africa, and the blacks chop them up, and the police are part of the problem because they took their guns away. Holy fuck, Galen. Thank you, though.
All right. Well, guys, with that, we are at the top of the hour and thus the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though our chat is the most well-behaved on the internet. Everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it, especially in these weird times we live in. Remember, guys, tomorrow night, per usual, will be on Monkey's channel at the usual time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then remember, Friday, at least as scheduled right now. If it changes, I'll let you know. Going to have Kate Kennedy on as a guest. So that should be interesting. Anything you want to plug, Sinatra?
New video out tomorrow morning. Go check it out. A young Turk's house got caught blatantly lying on Twitter, and I made a video about it.
Oh, boy. Anything else to mention before we go, Satsu?
No, it was a fun stream with Long Windicus and Interruptus.
Yes. And on that note, Sinatra, again, thank you for coming out and sitting in for Monkey.
Thank you for having me and tolerating me.
It's a struggle, but I persevere. But with that, guys, so again, Satsu, Sinatra, thank you for joining me as always.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
And per usual, get out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism. And today's secret word is helplessly.
Oh.
Helplessly.
Satsu helplessly tried to get airtime.